This is day 15 of dropshipping. Um, Halfway through the 30 days. I think I can do it based on, you know, I've I've been consistent. So yeah. But today, um, I basically let the campaign run that I posted last night, and at first it took a while to like start spending, but I mean, like I knew that was gonna be a thing because I lowered the budget to 50 a day. But either way, I can still like I got good data, and I can still like kind of predict like or not predict fully and be 100% sure, but like I'm 85-90% sure I can like think, okay, this is how the metrics will look like if I even if I spend like $100 during that day. So I looked over it, and I'm still not getting any like conversions, add to carts, anything like that. So this time, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change up the offer a little bit, not like a crazy amount. Pretty much, my thought is just like adding subscriptions to the offer, and making the subscription option like a little bit less. Um, like I've said before, like I'm not really too worried about the margins, especially since I'm just trying to validate the product and find the right messaging. So right now, I'm like obviously gonna lose money. Um, but eventually, like once I find the right messaging and I can target that or my avatar to actually buy the product, then I can worry about like margins, A/B testing, different offers, boosting that AOV, so it can be higher, so I can have even better margins. But yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna change the offer in that way to test it out. I think it'll also look a little bit more appealing since other competitors, like they have subscriptions for a similar product like this. So it'll be my first time, but like if it works out, it'll benefit me like in the long run since it's MRR. But yeah, but for the other thing, CPC, cost per link click, that was still pretty high. Um, but I realized that it's I have like I looked at other data from before, and basically what I did was I had a thought like I'm gonna compare the copy from like three tests or like 2-3 tests ago, and I did that because I saw that the CPC, cost per link click, was much lower than this one. And obviously like that could be the reason because I was just getting like curiosity clicks, but I still wanted to see like what it was, or how different the structure was from the copy I'm testing right now, because right now my CPCs are pretty high. So what I ended up doing is I gave it to chat because chat doesn't really have a lot of information about my product, and I told it like, okay, analyze these two copies and just tell me like which lead is better. And at first it told me the one I was currently running was better, but it's because it had a little bit of information about my avatar. But then I ended up telling it, okay, literally forget about the avatar and just worry about the lead part. Like tell me which one has the better first 200 to like 600, 400 words of the copy, since that's what the lead is. And then it ended up telling me, okay, the better one is actually the first one, which was the copy I ran for my last avatar. And it pretty much got it right because the CPCs were a lot lower. And so I ended up showing that conversation to Claude, and pretty much it like first it like disagreed a little bit, but then it ended up realizing, okay, if you're just mainly focused on like the structure part of it and like how it's trying to target like a certain person or a certain person's experiences, it is much better for the other copy and not the one I'm testing right now. So I basically just went back and forth trying to understand why and how differently it's structured to you know basically keep the person reading and eventually finally clicking on my link. And that's basically what was happening, and I understood it like a good amount. And eventually I told it, okay, draft up basically from like what we've talked about, everything you've showed me and why it's this different or whatever, I told it draft me up a new lead for the copy I'm testing right now. And I told it this is just for like, I'm just analyzing. I'm not sure if I'm gonna test this or anything, but it did that. It drafted it up, and overall, it said it was better, like definitely. And I thought it was better too. And I think it could be a good test. Um, and that was basically my thought, and that's why I did it. And so my plan now is probably going to be I'm gonna pause the one I'm currently trying, and I'm gonna put out I'm gonna do the same to like all the copies. Make sure it's structured in a similar way as the other copy. Obviously, I'm like I told it to like keep that like avatar driven throughout the copy, because that's obviously one of the faults the first one had. So I told it make sure like it still resonates with the avatar, and basically the avatar's all around the ad or the copy, and like it understood and it also did that. So I'm gonna do that to all the copies, like I said, all the desires, and with that and the offer changed, I think it has a good chance of like improving that metric I've been trying to fix, and maybe getting more buying intent from people. So if that ends up working out and metrics improve, I'm gonna let that run. Hopefully the offer I change it to also actually starts converting and giving those people more buying intent, and it looks appealing since it has an ebook, and the subscription is going to be like good because it's going to be cheaper, and people are going to think, oh well, I might choose a subscription one because it's cheaper, and I have the guarantee, so if I don't end up liking it, I could just send it back and cancel the subscription. So it'll they'll think, oh, like it's going to benefit me either way. And yeah, but it's really just that, just trying to get those people onto my site without having to pay too much, and getting enough people there. And in result, that'll also lower my CPMs because those are pretty high. And that's like what I've learned from all this, that like you can't control CPMs, and it really just tells you if your CPMs are high, your ads are ass. If your CPMs are low, your ads probably look pretty good. Not always, but like it probably means that like they look good all around, and you just need to fix a couple things if you have like other problems, like no conversions or stuff like that. So that's probably the other test I'm gonna run. Um, Getting little to no results, but I'm learning a lot, and I'm really learning how to fix certain things. Before, it was the hooks that I was trying to learn, and everything I did ended up fixing the hooks, like the notes I took and everything. Images, I've gotten better at like really having a good eye for what images might work. And headlines, I mean, that's pretty much the same as hooks. Once I got the hooks down, headlines were pretty easy to generate and really choose which ones are the best fit. Now I'm like really in the stage of like just trying to really create good messaging, because it's what will convert in the testing phase. And if I can get that down, I'll have a good idea of like how copy should be structured. And after that, it's just trying to get my product to convert, which is, from what I've heard, is a whole different thing. If I can get the ad good in like good metrics, trying to get them to convert is a whole different thing. So trying to understand that more too. And yeah, apart from that, that's pretty much day 15. We're halfway through, or I'm halfway through the 30 days. I think I can do it. But yeah, that's pretty much day 15. Not much, but learned a good amount and planned out a good amount. So yeah.